Pulse? When is the show for Agora Pulse? Oh, it's right now. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're live right now. Okay, yeah, let me just join right now. All right, see ya.
It's Social Pulse Weekly, brought to you by Agora Pulse. With this week's special guest, Tony Christensen. Discussing this week's hottest topics and latest developments in social media marketing. Your host, Jennifer Watson. Here's Social Pulse Weekly.
Everyone, happy Friday. And I just have to say, I think that was the best show open ever. Oh my God, Tony. Yes, and actually we are live right now. We're so excited. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Social Pulse Weekly. This is your all-in-one social media show with an expert interview every show. We have the latest social media news and a little fun trivia where you can win a mug, an Agora Pulse mug or t-shirt at the end, but you have to stick around because we're going to be asking those trivia questions and you have to get both of them right to be in the running to win. But how is everyone doing today? I just want to know that. I can't believe it's April 10th already. I felt like March was a year, and I feel like this month is going by really fast. I don't know about you, but welcome to the show. And remember, this is a two-way conversation. So if you have questions, please ask them. We have an amazing guest on today. Obviously, you got a sneak preview. But first, we want to know who you are, where you're from if you're joining us, and something amazing and positive that's happened to you in the past week or so. Because even though this is a time of uncertainty, a lot of weird things are going on, still there's a lot of positive things going on as well. And while you guys think about that, I want to introduce our amazing and incredible guest, Tony Christensen, who is a creator, speaker, and a mad scientist who is obsessed with Facebook and Instagram advertising. You guys, I've seen him and he is intensely awesome, actually. Currently, he's an advertising consultant and is the advertising manager for Now Marketing. He has created and optimized advertising campaigns for keynote speakers, conferences, and e-commerce business owners around the world with budgets as high as the millions per month in advertising spend. In his free time, he creates advertising videos on his YouTube channel and he travels. He loves spreading positivity, usually through sarcasm, and thinks writing about himself in the third person is a bit odd. With that said, welcome to the show, Tony.
Hello.
I'm so glad you're here.
Sorry, I wasn't sure when we were supposed to be going live, but I'm happy we'll do it live.
Yeah, we'll go live right now. You know, it's totally okay. And for those of you watching right now, this is my first show where I have my daughter at home with me right now. I don't have someone to watch her, and she's in this chair right here. So you may hear her little voice pop up every now and again, and I may have to tend to her quickly, but she's doing amazing right now. So yes, fingers crossed that lasts for an hour. But I just want to say, hey, everyone, we've got of course, the amazing, incredible Deb Mitchell, who is our community manager. We've got Julie in the house. Happy Friday, Julie. Marissa Callie. We've got Brian Fanzo, Dustin Stout, Evie, Ashley Graham. Oh my gosh, we've got the crew in the house today. Brad Friedman. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And we've got Muhammad. I think that's how you pronounce your name, from Morocco. Thank you so much for joining us. This is great. Let us know something amazing that's happened to you in the past week or two. We love this as a positive show. And with that said, Tony, I want to know something positive that's happened to you.
Oh, put on the spot now.
Yeah. Pressure is on, Tony.
I think for me, it's totally unselfish, but just hearing some of these other incredible advertising stories I've heard, especially lately. Like just yesterday, I was talking to a guy and I was talking to Mike about this too. Just hearing people that are pivoting and making incredible results now with their ads, and being able to serve their local communities, even with some of these businesses like restaurants and breweries and things like that. So that's just really cool and inspiring to hear, and really cool to hear about these people that are living locally around these areas and wanting to support their local businesses if they're able to. So that's my big win, is just everyone winning.
See, I love that. Everyone winning. Hashtag everyone winning. I love that. And that's how it should be, right? And so we're going to actually dive deeper into that. I have more questions to ask you about that, Tony. But Tony, first of all, give everyone a little bit of background on how you became so obsessed kind of with stats, because just a quick little background about our relationship for everyone else. I met Tony, I think officially in person at Social Media Week Lima last year. And you guys should have seen his spreadsheets. Like, he was intense working on ads for different kind of customers. I mean, it was like hardcore. And I'm like, man, if I want someone to run my ads, it's Tony. So, and he's brilliant and incredible. So Tony, tell everyone just a little bit of background on how you just got into ads.
Yeah, it's a funny story because I mean, I can go back dating like to when I was born, and like my mom being like, she always knew where I was in stores because I was the loud person making noise, banging things or whatever. So it kind of dates back to me wanting to get attention and figuring out how people react to things. So then from there, going forward 10, 20 years, whatever it was, I was doing music and wanting to promote my music more. And that's kind of when I started to get into advertising and just being like, how can I promote this more? And after I graduated college, I went and I had an IT job and I did data analysis and stuff. And I hated my job and realized I needed to make a change. And I kept falling more and more in love with advertising and social media marketing. And from there, yeah, like you said, I'm now obsessed with it. And it's like a 24/7. I'm always talking ads, looking at ads, talking to other advertisers and business owners too. So
Yeah.
It caught me. And it really was it was like a mix of everything that I've loved. So like the data analysis with video production, audio production, psychology, sociology, all that kind of stuff, all blending together makes advertising. So it was like, wow, this is like everything that I've loved growing up is now a job. So it was a perfect fit. Yeah.
And it is fascinating, all the different kind of categories, people you could target. I mean, you can get so granular, it's not even funny, I mean, you can get as specific as you want to get or be as broad, but obviously it's good to be in the middle of all that. So, I mean, that's awesome. I love that, Tony. And so I want to ask you, because I know when all of this started, companies weren't sure what to do when they had their ads. And obviously during a crisis of any kind that's very impactful and sensitive, you want to just pause and take a step back and make sure you're analyzing all the ads and make sure they're not insensitive for the current situation, what's going on. But what is your recommendation for businesses during this time that are like, okay, we're evaluating our campaigns and trying to figure out how they can still kind of run ads, but in a positive, sensitive light?
Yeah, and I think you already said it perfectly well. Like, it's done. The question's answered.
Sorry, Tony, darn it.
Yeah, but you want to really just pause and, like you said, look at everything that you're running right now and make sure it's not tone deaf. A horrible example that I witnessed was Corona was actually running ads for their new seltzer, and they were still running ads when this was all happening. And it said their headline was like "washing ashore soon," and it was just like the worst timed ad with the brand. And it was like, wow, you could be doing so much more, and this was not the thing to do. So I think really you just want to audit everything when something like this happens, and even in the future, if anything happens, audit exactly what you're running currently and see if it comes off as tone deaf. If you have tons of ads that you're running for some of these bigger companies, just maybe pause them all right now. Maybe think about a new strategy going forward. And I wrote a pretty in-depth article with Now Marketing Group on their blog, and it kind of broke it all down. And yeah, it just kind of starts with auditing everything out. And then just the next step for me in a lot of ways is thinking like the customer, right? So how are people now consuming content on social media? What is the sentiment that people have online? And how can you now help them out, provide value to them? And maybe it's not pushing sales, maybe it is, depending on what you're selling and if it's relevant or not, whatever it may be. But sorry, before all of that though, don't be running ads if your business is not making money now. I think the first start is how financially secure is your business? Where's that going? So if you are in a position to be able to run ads, then do that audit, dive into how people are thinking online, and then think about how you can, put a twist on it or whatever you might be able to do to stand out a little bit more. on Facebook, on Instagram, and all these platforms to be that company that is kind of shining a light in people's lives right now. There's a lot of that, negative sentiment online. People are talking about job loss and, incomes being hurt and businesses being hurt. And you definitely don't want to make an ad that talks about that. And we can kind of dive in. I think we might later in the show about some good examples. But yeah, you want to kind of take that into all of your consideration and spin that into how can you now help people? How can you now provide value?
Yeah. And I love that. That's all great advice, Tony, because I think, the last thing you want during this kind of a crisis is to see an insensitive ad, because I mean, what you do right now during this situation could haunt you potentially, if it's not positive, down the road for years. So you just want to be extra careful. And I want to give a quick shout out. We've got Leslie from Vegas. We've got Jai Kumar. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. We have Satish from India. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm not sure what time it is in India, but you guys are all awesome. Let's see if we have some positive news. Brad Friedman said, it's been great having family dinners online with my daughter who lives in another state and my son, staying close while physical distancing. I love that. And I think that's so true. Extra family time, like I'm having right now with my daughter with me, guys. And she's you probably just heard her during Tony's answer, but she's doing great right now. And Evie is ready to take Mary's coaching and consulting and my collaboration live and finally hit publish on our Summit Hero course and save people a big chunk of money due to our pre-release. Evie, post that link in here so we can promote you. And Mike also posted, Tony, the link to your blog that you wrote for Now Marketing Group as well. So we've got that in here. So yes, Juan Santiago, thank you so much for joining us as well. So let's get down to the fun nitty gritty. And basically, we were just kind of talking about it, but let's talk a little bit more specifically on some of the examples of companies that are running ad campaigns successfully right now, and are doing something creative that other companies aren't doing. And I'm wondering if you do have some examples of like large businesses, franchises, obviously, and then maybe even some smaller businesses, even restaurants that are still doing good.
I have examples of both, so this is perfect. And I usually do because I'm such a nerd with all this stuff. And kind of piggybacking off of that last question that you had, talking about what to do with your ads. Currently right now too, I would emphasize that ads are really cheap right now as well. So if you have the ability to run ads, I would highly recommend it in a lot of ways, depending on the products that you are selling. There's a really cool report. Maybe we can link that to sometime. Sorry, I didn't give you the link, but there's a report of the top selling products right now and the least selling products right now when it comes to kind of the e-commerce world. So a lot of the things of people working at home, right? So you have like laptops and, office supplies, you have like yoga classes, all these sorts of things, mats, computer monitors, food supplies, beverage supplies, all that kind of stuff is selling really well online right now. Stuff where you're going out, camping supplies, bikes and that sort of stuff isn't selling as well right now. But typically, looking at the whole the landscape of advertising right now, a lot of advertisers, a lot of big agencies are either turning spends down because they want to be safe, or they're cutting their spends completely. And it's really kind of backwards. You almost want to be doing it the opposite way, because ads right now, if you can do it the right way, ads right now are the cheapest they will ever be. And it's like kind of like a gold rush right now for advertising, which is really interesting. Now, let's go forward to your question there. So yeah, some of the companies that are really killing it right now, I just saw a Google ad and it pretty much made me teary-eyed, and they are just killing it right now. They put out an ad and it was just showing all of these different searches that people were searching in Google. So they're showing video in the background in the search bar. They're searching things like how to help, healthcare workers, how to donate supplies, things that you can do, with social distancing and with, things that you can do in social quarantine. And they showed, the different videos of, people singing on their balconies over in Italy and all that sort of stuff. So they kind of had this big positive spin on everyone's using their platform right now to help each other. And that is such a great example of turning an epidemic that has all this negative connotation into a kind of an empowering ad of this is a community now coming together, and they seamlessly connected it with their product, which is just brilliant. And if you could do something like that, I mean, that's like a textbook example right there. And at the very end of the ad, they weren't like spend money on Google ads, check out Google. They were just like, thank you to the healthcare workers. And they ended it like that. And right there, it's such a big positive sentiment. There's no reason anyone's going to hate their brand anymore. So that's why, like, talking about kind of that current sentiment, you don't want to be diving into the negativity, dive into the positivity and how you can be helping out people right now. And Google did that just perfectly with this ad, which is just incredible. Another big one, Guinness, which we talked about a little bit before too. They had a guy, and it wasn't even on their team, but they had a graphic designer make an ad that was a couch at the top and it had their logo at the bottom. And it looked basically from afar like their pint glass full with beer and, their signature look. And you zoom in and the text at the bottom underneath Guinness says, "Stay at home." So it was just incredible. And I think it was viral and trending on Twitter. So I saw it. And a few days, weeks later, whatever it was, I think it was a few days later, Guinness reached out to the guy and actually bought the rights to the ad. So they repurposed it now, and they have to say, I think, drink responsibly. So they turned that into an ad now where it was the same exact image, and they say, we had to do this, and it says drink responsibly now underneath that. So that was like another perfect example of them kind of embracing their brand, embracing the environment that is out there right now, and kind of turning it into that positive light now and helping people even more. A local example, kind of like you said with restaurants and even breweries, I'm seeing a lot of people now do pretty big pivots. So some restaurants, they're hurting quite a bit. And now they might be turning their stores online and actually selling, because there's a lot of people right now that are trying to go to grocery stores. I have been staying at home. I don't even know the current situation of grocery stores. But I do remember just seeing all of the pictures, of empty shelves everywhere. People are buying up beans and pasta and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of restaurants right now that are either selling their meals as full meals, or they're pivoting and then doing meal planning as well. So like one company was like, we'll pack your freezer for you, and there's all their meal prep meals. But the other side of that too is kind of the B2B side that they used to be sort of in. So now they're just selling their bulk items. So their pasta, their beans, rice, and that kind of stuff that people can't find in stores. So it's a really cool angle and a really cool pivot that they can do now to just help people that are in need. And that's what it comes back to. Really look at how people are using social media. If you see everyone posting these images of, grocery store freezers that are empty, and you have that product, put that store online now and just help people, give them that product, send it to them. And then I'm seeing, things like breweries too, that are doing the same thing, where people aren't necessarily going in and having a beer with each other now, but they might be making an ad where they're showing people on Zoom calls, cheersing each other for occasions and things like that. And then selling beers and doing local deliveries and that kind of stuff now. So it's awesome. I love seeing the positive spins that people can take on it. And I think that's really the way to dive into it, and the mindset you got to have. I heard someone say the other day, it sucks because we don't know how long this is going to last. And I just wanted to be like, okay, so what are you going to do now today? And that's really how you have to think about it, is we don't know how long this is going to last, but right now, this is the moment that we have. So let's see what we can do to help people out right now and come up with some sort of campaign that we can do to make that happen.
Those are all phenomenal and actually very inspiring ads, because, right now it's an interesting time to see what businesses are pivoting in a positive way, because it's so easy to bury yourself in the sand and just be like, oh, there's nothing we can do, or just feel lost. But you can help support people. Like, your mindset should be, how can I help the community and people? But also maybe your products can help them as well, and kind of add that together. And so, which is exactly in the examples that you're talking about. So Tony, like, I love all of those.
I have one more really good one that I love that I have to say now, because it was so inspiring too. So another way that you can make a pivot is, instead of selling your products to people right now, focus on, maybe you can make a campaign that people buy your products, meals, beverages, whatever it may be, and you're donating that now to the healthcare workers, the people on the front line, first responders. I've seen some campaigns like that now that are really inspiring and really awesome too. And just getting so much of that local support, because, healthcare workers right now are working so many hours, and they're way more susceptible to getting the virus. So if there's anything you can do now too with your products to be able to kind of turn into kind of philanthropic in ways, and kind of have a campaign that you might be able to say, instead of buying a meal for yourself, buy a meal for a healthcare worker right now, and then we'll donate it to the local healthcare workers. I've seen those, and those are incredible right now too. Yeah,
and I love that, because they're exhausted. They're working 7 days a week. I can't even imagine 12-hour days or more. And it's just crazy. So I love that. Those are all amazing and incredible ideas to help the community and also, keep your business and mindset in a positive place as well, which I love. We've got answering our question, something positive going on. Dustin Stout, he's been thinking through a multi-step ads funnel. So this is perfect timing. Very true. And Scott Ayers has a question. He said, define cheap when it comes to ads. He said he's heard the CPC. You knew Scott was going to come on and ask the question.
The technical.
Yeah, typical Scott. He's heard that the CPC is very low, but maybe not conversions. So he's very curious if you could maybe dive a little bit deeper into cheap.
Yeah, this is where it gets tough with advertising, and because I try to be really real and consider everyone's situations. It's a hard answer to it's a hard question to answer because there are so many factors. So an example, I just met a guy last night that spent $100 on ads for a local company, and their results were phenomenal. I talked to Mike about it a little bit. They made over $10,000 on these ads. So that's $100. That's to me fairly cheap. And that was over like a week. That's cheap. That's a very big success story. That's like a local business type situation there. So that there's a cheap example of companies that are working. Their cost, he asked about the cost per click or, even the cost per acquisition. Their cost per acquisition, and they were doing mostly remarketing and hitting that local 10-mile radius of the business. Their cost per acquisition was like 70 cents, which is just crazy. Like it's like, and that's the emphasis I'm putting on right now with ads being so cheap. It could be one of those situations where you might want to dive into that. And even if your spend is low, if it's more targeted, if it's a local business and people do want to support that business, you can get some incredible results, which is really cool.
Oh, I love that. And that was a great question, Scott. Thank you for that.
But like I said, it depends. Sorry, I'm like,
no,
like I said, it depends on the business though, right? So some people aren't buying certain products right now. Like I said, like stuff where you're going out and, doing exercise or something, that's not selling as well right now. Camping supplies aren't selling as well right now. But if you're selling things like webcams, computers, standing desks, that stuff is selling really, office chairs selling really well. So it kind of does depend in a lot of ways. So I would say you have to think about how people are actually buying things online right now, what they're looking for. Another thing that I see selling really well is like even like makeup and things like cozy clothes, right? So like yoga pants, robes, all that kind of stuff, because people are at home and they're working from home and they're like, oh, I can wear sweats now to work. So any of that stuff too, you just have to think about where people are at, what do they need right now? And then is it worth it to run ads for that? Or is it something where it is like, the biggest hit I think right now is luggage. No one's buying luggage because no one's traveling, right? So something like that, I would say probably hold off on running ads. If you want to run ads for that, focus more on raising awareness for your brand, but less on the selling side of things because people just I don't want a suitcase right now.
Yeah. I don't think even anyone is thinking about that. And they're, if they had travel plans that had to get canceled, they're probably just not happy. And the last thing they
exactly.
wanted was suitcase. And so Marissa, she said, serving and helping each other is the foundation of good business, which is very true. And she said a local restaurant is pushing to go takeout orders along with liquor drinks like the Tiger King Growler, which is very, very positive. So, and you guys hear my daughter in the background. She's singing. She's having fun. So from the woman entrepreneur, she said, great examples. How long will it take, according to you, before big brands go back to advertising on social media? And probably, I guess, things go back to normal, which is a very tough loaded question.
Yeah. And I would say some big brands are still advertising on social media right now. So that's a hard question to answer. I would also say that, like I said, with ads being so cheap right now, if those big brands like the Googles, like the Guinnesses were running ads right now, after all of this is done, they're going to be some of the biggest companies that have had a bigger impact for their brand, more awareness. What hurts big brands right now, and I have a friend that works at a pretty big agency, and they're like, yeah, we've lost $20 million contracts now with some of these huge companies right now that are just like, oh, we're not going to do these campaigns now. And I'm like, what are they doing? Like, it's so cheap right now because so many people are turning down their ad campaigns, turning down their spends. Where if it is something where you can make a pivot, a slight pivot, like Guinness, like Google, do it. Definitely do it and run into it. the question on when big brands are going to come back up, it's really hard to answer. Right now, they could be looking at the results that I'm talking about and being like, wow, their ads are really cheap right now. So of course they will slowly start to rise. So a lot of the people I talk about right now and talk to right now, I'm just saying, get into running ads right now. A lot of these local business success stories I'm talking about, I've reached out to some of these people and said, this is really great right now, but you don't know how long this is going to last either. And likewise, when those big brands start coming out more, when these other bigger beer companies are now running these same campaigns, they're going to be competing a lot more for that. So it's like, it's a hard question to answer. They could start, I'm sure they're starting to run ad campaigns again now, but it depends again on their product and what they're selling.
Yeah. And it was a great question. And just like you said, it's going to depend on the virus itself and then a whole bunch of other things. But that was a great question. And then DL said, I've seen some incredibly creative ads during this time. So I would love for you to share some links if you have them, if you haven't already. Yes. Now, Dustin Stout said, how are social media graphics selling right now?
Oh, that's a question. I don't deal with selling social media graphics, so I don't know. But I do know there are a lot of businesses right now that are realizing, holy cow, I need to be online with my business now. Like I said, with restaurants, like I said, with all these other companies that are impacted really heavily, some of these people that have always been like, social media marketing doesn't work and advertising doesn't work. They're now like, we need to figure out advertising in social media. So I would think you probably could sell them probably more right now, with the cost being cheaper too. I think that could help you out. It's hard to tell, but I think there's a lot of businesses right now learning or wanting to learn social media, and I think if you have graphics and things like that you can help them with, I think that could be a good market.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dustin, keep going with what you got. Dustin's amazing, by the way, guys. Ashley Graham, I need to find some new stylish, cozy clothes. Please send any and all recommendations. Ooh, Pi yoga pants, PI yoga pants. They're amazing. They're so comfortable and they're fashionable enough that you can like wear them out in the town with like something a little fancy on top too. So yeah, that's just a little tip there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The perfect outfit.
Yes.
It's really cozy, but it looks okay.
Yes. So right now I'm actually wearing a dress that I would speak on stage in. So I'm actually super dressed up right now, but sometimes, guys, I'm in my yoga pants and I just have a nice top on when I'm doing these live shows because you only see, from here up. So Deb Mitchell said, what about the impact of political ads?
That's a I don't know
Are
if
you
I want to
loving
answer
the
that question
right now?
What about the impact of political ads? Can you, I guess, rephrase the question maybe a little bit? I think right now for political ads, it's a big time too, because like I said, ads are cheap. And a lot of people are turning it into how are people responding to this epidemic going on right now. So it's definitely an interesting time to run political ads. I'm not sure what kind of politics she's talking about, so I'm not sure how to answer that best, but who knows?
You did good, Deb. If you can be a little bit more detailed with that question, we can definitely try and dig more into it. Marissa said, this is interesting. She saw an ad for a woodworking company selling Christmas ornaments that say, I love you more than toilet paper, Christmas 2020, which is hilarious. I love you more than toilet paper. People are being a little comedic, but maybe too soon for that. I don't know. But that's very interesting. And Dustin said he was mostly joking. And Scott Ayers said, so many elections are on pause. I bet no politicians are advertising and would be considered insensitive if they were. I think I agree with Scott on that. Definitely. And so I've got a question now. What are the biggest mistakes you see brands make when it comes to ads, just in general, not during this time specifically, but in general?
So the biggest, I just was on a podcast yesterday and talking about this, and I love the mindset of kind of the first business owner, and now I see why they run into this problem so much. So first of all, most people might not have their Pixel installed. So if you're listening to this right now and your Facebook Pixel, which is basically just a short snippet of code from Facebook, if that's not installed on your website, get that installed today, because that's going to generate a lot of your most valuable audiences in a lot of ways. It also tracks all your kind of analytics and conversions that might happen on your website. So get that installed. That's one of the main issues I see first. The second one I see And it's very common too. And it's something that, like, if you just don't run ads, you don't know. If you're a marketer, you might know this, but it's the whole mindset of you need to warm up your audiences, right? So when you go into Facebook ads, and I kind of just reverse engineered this yesterday, so I'm excited now because I see why business owners make this mistake all the time. So when you go into Facebook ads, you click on whatever campaign it is, and then on the ad set level, which is next, you're basically seeing all of the cold audience demographics. You can add your custom audiences of website visitors, the really valuable stuff, the remarketing audiences in there, but they don't really stand out as much. So if you're new to making ads, you kind of go in there and you see it say, like, what are their interests? What are their age? Where do they live? All that kind of stuff, all the demographic stuff. So most businesses will go in, they'll type that in. They'll then go to the next section, which is running their ads. They'll create an image or video, whatever it may be. And a lot of times that is also just an ad that's basically a bottom of funnel type ad of, buy my products, here it is, here's the whatever it can help you with, buy it now kind of thing. So that's the main issue I see, is a lot of people doing these kind of cold ads to cold audiences that are more bottom of funnel ads saying, buy my product, when you really want to start with figuring out, you can start with remarketing. That's probably the best way to do it. Some of these local business examples that I've said are people that have gone to your website, show them ads. That's going to be kind of the low hanging fruit of advertising that you can do right now to get people back and buying. The next level is then, to work on building up your cold audiences. So figuring out how you can provide value to people that don't know about your brand. And that's the mindset you need to have, is people aren't online to learn about your brand, and they're online to consume content. They might be online to learn or to get entertained. So think about how you can make a campaign that kind of captures their attention there and gets them to start liking your brand even more. I
love that. Gosh, you are just a plethora of knowledge. And plethora is like my favorite word. So when I have the opportunity to say it, I will say it. A plethora of knowledge, Tony. I love it. And so you kind of partially answered this question, but I would love to know, what do businesses need to think about before, during, and after ad campaign for it to be successful? Because I think a lot of people, they develop and create this ad campaign, but then they don't nurture it or monitor it during or after, or don't do any follow-up. They're like, we did the ad, see, we got it done. What is some of your best advice for that? And I know you already gave some of it leading up to it. So
yeah, the other before thing is you really want to think about what your business goals are and what you're trying to accomplish with your ads. I hear people sometimes that are like, and we'll talk about this a little bit later too, but there's some business owners that are like, I just want engagement, or I just want followers. And I kind of flip it on them and say, why do you want followers? Especially if like you're e-commerce or something, like, why don't you just want sales? Like, what's your actual business goal, right? What are you trying to accomplish? So really get clear on what you want to accomplish. Get clear on who you're trying to target, what problem that you solve for people, what's their main pain points, doing all that research. And then make your website as frictionless as possible too. So a lot of people reach out to me and I say, I don't even want to work with you yet, because what you're telling me you want people to do, I go to your website and it's very hard for me to find that thing that you want me to do. For an example, I had one guy reach out to me and he's like, I want people to just call my business. So I go to his website. I think in the FAQs deep, I think they had the phone number, but I was like, so you're going to send all this traffic to your website and there's not a phone number right there that's like, call us, right? It's not that call to action. So you really want to get clear, before running ads, on who you're targeting, what your product is, how it's actually helping people, and how they talk about it, how they, think about it, all the pain points that they go through, and how you can kind of leverage that for your website copy and for your ads. And then you want to make sure your website is as seamless and as frictionless as possible for all these people that you're going to send to that website, right? So it dives back to like all of that in the setup beforehand. So do all that before. Once you have kind of sales coming in, organic funnels kind of working already, then now it's a good time to run ads. And you can get a lot of those posts that have worked already for you on Instagram and Facebook, or your blog or email, whatever it might be, and then turn that into an ad fairly seamlessly, and get those similar results. So then and then even before, I could talk about this all day. So even before too, you want to get clear on, when it comes to your campaign, does that align with your business goal? Is the campaign slightly different to that business goal? What are you actually trying to accomplish with the campaign, right? Are you wanting sales? Are you wanting people to start hearing about your brand, start going to your website, all that kind of stuff you want to think about? And then you want to pick the best campaign that accomplishes that goal. And then during the campaign, you want to look at what's actually happening. How are people responding to your ads? If you have jokes, are they hitting? Are they not hitting? Are people like, what is they talking about? You want to be active in the comments. So use a tool like Agorapulse. It's like, one of the main tools. I don't typically respond to comments, but everyone that I work with, I'm like, you guys need a grower pulse because you can see all of the comments right away in the tool and respond to them right away. And that's huge right there. So during the whole process of the ads running, you want to be there answering questions, comments. People might tag their friends, give them little encouraging remarks or whatever you might want to do to drive them to your to your website even more. And then when it comes to kind of after everything, you want to look at, let's go back a little bit more. When you're setting up your campaign too, always make sure you're testing something. So if you're going to run one campaign, at least test 2 different ads. Like if you're a smaller budget, at least have something else that you're testing, because otherwise you don't really know if you could have performed better or not, or what worked or what didn't work. So I would say test a little bit, regardless of whatever you're doing, whatever your budget is, test at least a little bit so you can have something to base it off of. And then after the ads, kind of look at what happened. Did people respond? Did they buy when they went to your website? Did they click through? If they didn't click through, maybe your creative was bad. Maybe your copy was bad. So it's kind of putting on the detective hat then and diving into looking at the metrics and seeing what they show you and seeing how you can improve. And then you just kind of, you think about how you can improve going forward, how you can iterate and kind of create another set of tests to run going forward. And you kind of optimize based on what the data shows you there.
I love it. And you have a women entrepreneur. She said, "Oh my God, I love that you state this. This is so true," which I'm not sure exactly which point you made that she's referring to, because you've sent so much information, but people are loving it. And we've got another person that said, got some cool insights from you, Tony Christensen. So you are literally, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your experience with ads, because a lot of people, and including myself, I ran ads before my old company. I would not consider myself an ads expert at all whatsoever, because I'm not in it every single day, And so you've seen a lot of positives, and you monitor who does ads right and who doesn't. And so with your experience, Tony, I would love to hear some of the examples of companies that you've worked with or companies that you've seen that they've made really successful campaigns, and maybe that success surprised you or you were just really impressed by it.
Yeah. So one of my favorite campaigns I've ever made, I'll talk about that. So it starts with, like I said, kind of the research. So we already had a company that had, this isn't the research. It starts with that, like I said, having a good engaged community, figuring out your messaging, having your website all working and performing great, right? So they had all that figured out. And then we went to I went to the research. How can we make a better campaign with what they're running currently? So it was a yoga pants leggings company. So basically what I did, which is funny, I have a fairly big network of friends online that wear yoga pants and shop yoga pants. So I just asked, and this is what you need to do when it comes to the research phase of advertising, is ask why people buy that product, ask why they buy your competitor's product, ask what they love about it, ask why, if it's a higher price product, what made them spend more money for that, right? Ask them about things that they hate about that product or things that they hate about the cheaper versions of that product. So you really want to dive into the research side of things and figure out how people are thinking and talking about this product. So when it came to yoga pants, I obviously don't wear them. I mean, I don't want to talk about if I wear them or not. I'm keeping that a secret, but no, typically, no, I don't wear them. Anyway, I did wear them actually on on a bar crawl, but that's besides the point. So you want to dive into, especially if you're not familiar, and I would say even most business owners, they might not know exactly why people are buying their products. You might think but unless you actually talk to them, unless if you read reviews, unless if you ask these questions, you're not going to actually know why they're actually buying from you. So that's the biggest thing that I always emphasize, is really dive into the research. So for this campaign, I dove in, we're selling yoga pants, and I asked all these questions, why you buy them, what you hate about them, all these sorts of things. And I had people say, they love the more expensive ones because they're not as see-through, if you're lifting weights or if you're bending over, all that kind of stuff, obviously. One girl wrote that she hates that she has to tie a sweatshirt around her waist. So these are all things I have not really thought about at all, because it's not my product that I've made. It's not a product I'm familiar with, right? So I did all this research. Scott says he needs more details. We'll tell that later, another show. So I did all this research. Another point that really stuck out to me, I posted the same question on Twitter, and I had a girl say, I hate that some companies say one size fits all. And that right there was like, boom, there's my headline now. So now I know I can make a campaign that's an empowering campaign about, we all know, we can get really real on this. We all have different body types. Not everyone has, the same figure, not one size fits all. It just never works. Like there's always someone that's taller or shorter and the size does not work. I've been in that one size fits all category with like different objects. And I'm like, it's not for me. I'm kind of taller. So it doesn't work. Right. So I dove into all of the real pain points, all the real benefits that they looked for. And then I made this campaign, and it was a empowering campaign that was talking more about, we all know one size fits all. And then I linked that to different pain points that people had, with, you don't need to worry with our product. You don't need to worry about it being see-through when you bend over. You don't need to worry about tying a sweatshirt around your waist. You don't need to worry about not having pockets. Girls, I guess, love pockets for some. I love pockets too. I can't blame you. But things like that, like pockets, durability, how comfortable they actually are, being able to breathe, all these sorts of details. And I'm getting like way too detailed, but like even like getting a wedgie, right? So having the different cut on yoga pants for not having a wedgie and that kind of thing. So doing all that research, I made this campaign, and the headline was, "We all know one size doesn't fit all." So that right there, boom, it caught their attention. I had all sorts of different shapes and ethnicities of women. It was just a very empowering ad saying, we're here for you. We get one size doesn't fit all. We have any size you need, really. And here are kind of the pain points that we solve. Here are the benefits of the product. Here are quotes that we've had from people that have already talked about the product. So I ran that at first, and this is a great trick for anyone running ads. When you're running a multi kind of funnel ad where you have, engagers that you're showing your ads to, people that have went to your website, people, that already love your brand. If you're trying to make a new campaign, start showing it to those people. Because these people are already going to love your brand, and they're already going to react and just be like, wow, I love your yoga pants. I've already bought them. I love what you guys are all about. Your customer service is great, all that kind of stuff. After you've built that social proof a little bit more, then you can duplicate that and show it to a cold audience of people that haven't heard from you. And now it has all this really great positive sentiment. They can look into the comments and see people tagging their friends and see people say, these are my favorite yoga pants ever. And you can just kind of run with it. And if you can make some sort of big empowering ad, even just like that Google ad talking about, helping healthcare workers, thank you to the healthcare workers, that's really empowering for the people on the front lines right now. If you can do something like that, where you can relate your product to something really big and a bigger purpose, it's going to perform really well and do really well. So that one there, it was crazy. I think it got a 19 return on ad spend, which is just like out of this world. It's like phenomenal. And then later we ended up not working with that client anymore. And I got nice. My roommate commented about me wearing white jeans. Nice. So that same ad campaign totally got stolen. And then that story got syndicated on like over 600 news channels all over the world, which was great to see. And I was like, wow, well, that's flattery, I guess. And it was a great idea. So yeah, that was probably my favorite ad campaign I ever made. It was definitely the one that I put a lot of research into. And then leveraging that engaged community that we already had, just kind of amplified that even more.
Oh my God, congrats to you, Tony. That's, first of all, I feel like that's like an after 5 o'clock story when we've had a couple beers and we're just like, yeah, I feel like there's more to that story too, that I think we all want to hear at Tony After Dark. That should be a new show. We really want to feel like the nitty gritty, like the raw of Facebook and Instagram ads. But you've got everyone who is wanting now to rock some yoga pants. Just talking about yoga pants, which is so awesome. But like, yeah, but that's a huge kudos to you to think about. I mean, you got to think about so many different things, and all of that is true when it comes to yoga pants, but like any kind of product in general. So thank you for going so granular and telling that story, because I don't think people really hear in-depth stories like that about ads or how in-depth you went on it. And so guys, if you have questions for Tony, let us know. We've got about 15 minutes or so left within the hour. But Tony, if you can do so really quick, but this is a loaded question. What are your best tips for engagement ads, that people that are looking for more engagement and also more followers? Of course, a lot of people are trying to get that magic 10,000 followers on Instagram. And I've already messaged you about this before. But and I know it's kind of, you have to test out different things, but what are your best tips or campaigns that you found that did that very well?
Yeah, so the ones that I've seen perform really well, Instagram followers is kind of a tough one because you can run a page likes campaign for Facebook pages. For some reason, they don't have that for Instagram yet. Eventually, I'm guessing they might have that. So that's an interesting kind of predicament to be in. To answer your first question, if you're actually wanting engagement, I would say run an engagement campaign. It's just as simple as that, really. The campaign objective is going to be optimized by whatever you pick for the most part. So some people want to say, they want to run engagement campaigns for selling because they're like, oh, I know that'll be cheaper. But Facebook is going to dump all of the budget and look at what people are actually responding. What are the people that tagging? What are the people that are, sharing that post? That's where they're shoving all of that money. They're not necessarily people that are buying online from you. So you really want to get clear on what's your actual business objective, what's your actual campaign objective. If you want to sell, do a kind of like a conversion purchase campaign or a conversion add to cart if you don't get a certain amount of purchases, whatever it might be. If you're wanting actual engagement, I would just run an engagement campaign because, like I said, Facebook is just going to optimize. They basically categorize people and they know how we use Facebook. So they know, this person's a shopper. They buy online quite a bit. This person is kind of like a YouTube user. They like watching things like this. They like, going through the watch tab of Facebook. This person is a clicky user. So they'd be perfect for a traffic campaign. And then this person here comments on everything, tags their friends, just loves, doing the engagement. So they're going to put that person into that bucket. So when you're picking the campaign, they're basically getting your targeted audience and then segmented out into how people are actually using the platform and spending that money on those people. And then the more that they see, they keep kind of splitting up audiences. The more that they see a certain segment of that audience starts to take off. So if it's engagement and they start to see this type of person in this audience is really starting to engage, they're going to dump all that money there on people that are a lot more like that person. So keep that in mind. So when it comes back to engagement, pick an engagement campaign. Now, growing your Instagram page is a fun kind of tricky one. I haven't done it too much. I've done it kind of running e-commerce ads that have been really funny, on placements like Instagram and stories that have then got people to really like the brand and then want to follow the page. So I think when it comes to Instagram, one of the things you can do is just work on really making good Instagram content and then taking those winners out and trying to branch that out even more. And maybe then it is a engagement type of campaign where you're getting people to comment and like on your Instagram posts, and hopefully you can get them to follow you. You can also work on different campaigns that you might get people to get more follows on your Instagram with like a giveaway or contest or something like that, where maybe you're running an ad that gets people on an email list. And then from that email list, you're kind of suggesting that they check out your Instagram for a giveaway or for whatever it might be, certain content that you only put on Instagram. So that's kind of how I might do that. Also, stories are pretty cheap compared to, the all placements. Stories in a lot of ways are some of the cheaper ads to run. So I think doing some sort of story campaign too, where again, you're sending them to some sort of email list sign up and then kind of trying to convert them to get on to your Instagram and follow you there, I think would be really good. So it's a tricky one,
no,
which I hate.
But you went down to a level, and that's what I wanted you to do, is that, obviously engagement campaigns, you would choose engagement, but thinking about the objective and other things that you may not think about and realize how Facebook is placing your ads or Instagram is really important, because not everyone knows that. So Tony, thank you for answering that question, because I think that helped out me and a lot of other people too. So that is such great advice. And
if you sorry, I keep cutting you off. If you have really good content, I would basically position that to look really good on Instagram, right? Kind of like the Gary Vee model, right? Make some really good, valuable content, put it on Instagram, and then probably run that as an engagement campaign. People will see it, they'll see the other value on your page and then follow you and kind of want more. So that's kind of how I would position that. To answer again.
Yeah, no, Tony, seriously, keep it coming. This advice is amazing and incredible. So Tony, and if you guys have questions on something specific that you guys thinking about, an ad that you're potentially thinking about and want some, overhead advice, ask now, because we have the expert right here. He is amazing. Tony, we're going to wrap up here and go to the news. But before we do that, Are there any other tips that you would like to leave people with when it comes to ads? Because I think people are, it can be kind of stressful because it's money, I mean, you don't want to just lose money or do a bad campaign. You want to make it as beneficial as possible. So what kind of advice do you have just in general when it comes to ads?
Yeah, I'd say first and foremost, focus on how you're actually helping people, and kind of your purpose related to that. So really look at how your product or service helps people and dive into that and lean into that as much as you can, because that's what's going to resonate with people. And then look at, this is a tip I got from Azrael Ratz, from his talk at Social Media Marketing World. He says, really look at kind of the organic funnel, right? So how are you selling currently? Are you posting on Instagram and your posts are really good and you're kind of sending traffic to your website there? Then look at what those posts are and how people kind of start to engage. Maybe they're tagging their friends in some of your first posts, and then you have kind of a call to action type Instagram post and they're going to your website. So try to replicate that organic funnel that you might already have with your ads. But yeah, really focus on just helping people and providing value up front, especially when it comes to some of those top of funnel campaigns. So if you can provide any sort of free value, a downloadable guide or whatever it might be, get people kind of familiar with your brand, give them way more value than you'd be comfortable with. And then, for someone like me, I can give you a ton of value in a show like this, and people are going to be like, this is so complicated, I just need to hire him. And that's kind of the idea that you want to do, is give people so much value where they're just going to be like, wow, this is if it's a service-based business, wow, I don't want to do this work, but it is very valuable. Or think about the questions that people are asking and looking for online, and just answer that with good content. And getting those people to really like your brand is kind of a good start.
I love that. And Deb Mitchell said here, just saw that Netflix goes from 150,000 to 500,000 in daily ad spend since this whole thing started, but the US. So I guess maybe they didn't do that in the US. I'm not sure what she was saying there. But no, which is crazy. It's so crazy. I mean, you can spend, I didn't realize this until I really got into social media and ads 5 years ago. And I was like, holy crap, ad budget is not what I thought when it comes to social media. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, I mean, it's crazy. And you can have amazing success with it. And even you can have amazing success with $100. You don't need huge budgets to be beneficial to you, which I think is really important too, because it can be intimidating. Well, I don't have that kind of money. If you don't have that money, you're not necessarily going to get results like those people and companies that do, but you will still see benefits, and there's still different things you can do.
Yeah, and I think right now a good place a lot of people can focus on is if you already have a really good downloadable guide that people are loving and downloading organically on your website or through your email, make that an ad right there, and really just focus on growing your email list, especially if that's the list that you're selling to. Again, it comes back to that organic way of how you're selling. But that could be a perfect place to start, is just providing value up front. There's so many people right now that are at home bored and wanting to learn more. Maybe you have something very valuable kind of related to your business that you can work on, just focusing on growing that email list right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's so smart. Great advice. So really quick, Tony, I want to know, what are your top 3 productivity tools or apps that you can't live without?
Yeah, this is an interesting one, because I feel like I don't know if I even use a lot of productivity tools, but I'll give you my main ones that are semi-productivity related. The first one, the main one, is probably Evernote. Just because I'm constantly writing everything on my phone, and I can sync that with my, computer. So that can be ad copy ideas. It can be, I write tons of book notes on there, which is really cool. So Evernote, I just love just because I can write notes and it syncs everywhere, which is awesome. The next one is more of a gratitude mindset thing. I just love the 5-minute journal. So basically I wake up every day and it reminds me, list 3 things that you're grateful for, list 3 things that you're wanting to accomplish today, and then do a daily affirmation type post. And then at the end of the day, you kind of respond with, what are the 3 great things that happened today? And then how could you have made your day better? So using a tool like that's really good to kind of give me my 3 top priorities each day. And then having that positive gratitude mindset every day, waking up, which I love. The other main one is probably just DMs right now. And that's too, what's really cool about even all these ads and stuff that you can be running, is you can get these, people talking to you in your DMs and then really building that relationship right now. So I don't know if that counts as a productivity tool. I don't think it's really productivity, but
No,
it's focusing on building kind of real relationships and helping people right now. A lot of that happens in the DMs and people reaching out and asking questions. So those are kind of my main three, but they're semi-productivity related.
I love it. No, absolutely. I mean, those are all top three ways that you can be more productive and just kind of stay structured and everything and have a positive mindset, which is kind of what we're all looking for during this time. So, Tony, I love this. Thank you for sharing everything. So, we're going to geek out on a couple things of news and then trivia, guys. You got to hang around for the end because we're giving it away an Agora Pulse, an incredible, amazing Agora Pulse mug and a t-shirt, or one of the two. You get to choose though. It's whatever you want. So first we're going to get to the news really, really quick. And you guys heard this probably a couple months ago that Instagram is slowly rolling out the DM feature on desktop, which we kind of all want. Yes, it's great to be able to look at Instagram on your desktop, but really for functionality and everything, especially DMs, you have to be on your phone, but you have to check and see. And if you want to see if you actually have access to Instagram DMs, you can go on to your desktop and just log into Instagram. And if you have the paper airplane, you have access to the DMs. So they're going to continue rolling this out to everyone. And hopefully soon it'll be available for you if it's not already. But that helps out so much because I know a lot of us are on our laptops or, have our monitors and everything, and just being able to check our DMs without having to, pick up our phone or do something else can make our life that much more easier and that much more productive. So I'm sure, Tony, you'll love that too, right? Do you have access yet?
I think I do. I feel like I've had it for a while, but I don't quote me on that. But
I won't push you, but I don't have access to your account, so you never know. I mean, you could really say yes right now, and nobody would have any idea.
Yeah, of course I have it. No,
of course you have it.
I think
Yeah,
I do,
everyone does. So, Tony, are you on Snapchat?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm more on Instagram.
Yeah, I know. I'm an Instagram person, Twitter, but if you are on Snapchat, they're doing some really cool things. And around the whole COVID-19, they've launched 3 COVID-19 lenses, including a worldwide lens with tips for staying safe with information sourced from the World Health Organization. And these lenses have reached almost 130 million Snapchatters globally, which is incredible. And I think now more than ever, with a lot of students, teenagers home and college students home, they're jumping on Snapchat more than ever, or social media platforms. And they're also, to further support the global COVID-19 relief efforts, they're launching a new augmented reality donation experience using Snapchat lenses to bring awareness to the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund for the World Health Organization, which is really cool. And there are some screenshots there of it. And through the Snapchat camera, Snapchatters can scan 23 international currency notes across 33 countries, bringing up an AR visualization of how donations support the World Health Organization's immediate response efforts to track the spread of COVID-19 and ensure patients get the care they need. So this is kind of, if you haven't been on Snapchat in a while, you might want to check it out, because I think it's really cool how all the different social media platforms and channels are doing things just to help out during this time, whether it's to make sure that you get factual information, bringing people together. They're doing so many cool things. And I don't know if you've seen anything else, Tony, that different social channels are doing, but those are some, especially Snapchat. That was one of the latest, but I know Facebook is doing things as well.
Yeah, I know Facebook is doing quite a bit, as well as Google and Google Ads. They're kind of doing grants and stuff now for small business owners.
Yeah, which really helps out a lot, because I know during this time I've had multiple friends, unfortunately, furloughed or laid off just because they're in travel event industry space, which is obviously very difficult during this time. So, and they're trying to help even small businesses, restaurants that have closed their doors too. So all this stuff is so positive, very cool. And with that, it's trivia time, guys. Are you ready? And Tony, you can hint at what you would maybe answer, but you can't fully answer this. Okay. So this is fun trivia time. Okay. This is great, guys. All right. This is now Promo does studies, I think every quarter. And this past quarter, they were basically asking 500 small businesses about videos and how much money they spend on advertising and that sort of thing. So kind of, this is up your alley there, Tony. I figured you would like this. So according to Promo Study, what percentage of small businesses spend up to $500 per month advertising their videos? Now, when you answer, guys, you can please answer 1-A or B or C or D. So I know that you're answering the first question, so we don't get confused. But again, according to Promo Study, what percentage of small businesses spend up to $500 per month advertising their videos? Is it A, 22%, B, 38%, C, 44%, or D, 58%? And Tony, I would love to hear your guess on this, but unfortunately you can't win. I'm sorry.
My guess. So do you want me to hint or guess?
Well, do you know the answer? Do you know the real answer to this question?
I don't know the real answer, but I'm guessing it will be on the smaller side of this scale.
Okay, that's good. That's good. We should probably have you pause there. You will be close to giving it away. So we'll have you stop. We've got Evie said 1C, Marissa 1A. Any other guesses out there, guys? Yes, we've got Jennifer Malone says 1B. Ooh, that's a good guess. We love you, Jennifer. Logan said 1C. We've got Angie 1B. Good job. Delena, sorry, 1B2. Good job, guys. All right, we've got good guesses. There are some of you that are in a tie for winning an Agorapulse mug or shirt. So the tiebreaker is the second question. And which is really fun, right? Okay, so Tony, you're right on the ball with the first one. Second one, according to Promo Study, this is the same study, what is the social channel where small businesses post the majority of their videos? Again, what is the social channel where small businesses post the majority of their videos? Is it A, Facebook, B, Instagram, C, YouTube, or D, LinkedIn? And Twitter was not in the top 4, just so you know. But is it A, Facebook, B, Instagram, C, YouTube, D, LinkedIn? What are you thinking here, Tony? I
don't know if I'm supposed to hint or just give the answer or what I think is the answer.
Well, I'm worried that you know too much, so let's just hint.
Yeah.
Let's hint. Tony, you know too much.
Hint, I would say as a hint, think about where small businesses are probably spending their time.
That's
yeah.
That's really good. You know what? And this kind of surprised me. This answer surprises me a little bit. And I guess I don't realize, how powerful this certain social channel still is in some different things, because I feel like, maybe the older generations are more so on it, but it's huge when it comes to video and everything else. So we've got some great answers, guys.
Are you giving away the answer?
No, oh my God, I am. I'm truly not kidding, you guys. So that voice that you just heard is the producer of the show, my boss. He jumps in when I give away the answer too much. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut. So I'm not going to say anything else. You guys, we're going to give you the answer within 24 hours. So you have to check back here and we will DM you for your address if you're the winner. So keeping that in mind, and you have the opportunity to win an Agorapulse mug or a t-shirt every single show, every single time. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Tony, any last words?
No, I would say, I said no, as I would say, like no last words, but here are some last words. I think going back to just the sentiment now, I say live in the moment right now and figure out what you can do to kind of help people and stay positive and really practice gratitude and just inspire each other right now. Don't focus on all the negativity going on right now, really focus on what we still have right now and what we can do right now and the impact we can make.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys, behind the scenes, if you heard little voices and squeals, it was this little love bug. This is my little nugget, Zara. Zara, can you say hi? See yourself right there? Hi. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we can't see you because of my thing. Yeah. Like Jennifer Watson. Yeah, say hi. Yeah, we're live right now. Hi.
I think she deserves an ice pop now.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Comment, let us know if she deserves an ice pop. I think she does.
She's going to get a frozen popsicle. But so you guys, something special. So Tony, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, sharing your knowledge. Can you tell everyone where they can follow you, find you, and hire you?
Yeah, so you can go to tonydoesads.com or just everywhere online at Tony Does Ads. Make it nice and simple.
Awesome. Well, Tony, thank you so much for being here and just joining us and sharing your knowledge. Everyone, thank you so much for the amazing conversation. Happy Friday. We're just so excited you came to join us. And we're also really pumped for the fact that we are giving away 4 weeks of our social media manager school, which is basically almost $1,000 a year, free for 4 weeks in the month of April. So you can sign up any day in the month of April and you get the school for 4 weeks or get access to the school, which means if you're struggling with some part of social media or want to learn something, this is a huge opportunity for you. It's free, 100% free. We're trying to help you guys and anyone that needs help in the social media industry. So yes, definitely check it out. We've got the screen up there. We've got the website. And next week we have the amazing and incredible Bella Vasta, who is joining us. She has been pivoting her business and helping all of her clients with a pop-up group and 14-day challenges and a bunch of other things. She's brilliant when it comes to community and Facebook groups. So she's joining us next Friday as well. And with that said, I want to say cheers to everyone. Can you say bye-bye? Can you blow a kiss?
Yes.
Yeah, good job. And thank you guys so much for joining us. And we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.